you're over the age of 35, stop everything you're doing right now. After a lifetime of eating fatty foods, you may run the risks of a stroke or heart attack due to plaque buildup in your veins and arteries. To learn how you can reduce your risks, visit youthfountainlab.com or call 1-800-853-7856 today. This may be a life-changing call for you or someone you love. Thank you, and we hope to hear from you.
So a lot of people was talking about the Texas Senate. There was a bill called Senate Bill 3. And in this particular bill, it has a lot of people concerned, a lot of people upset. And it's just a bill that really is trying to whitewash history. So the Republicans, they have their think tanks, like the Heritage Foundation as one of them. They go to these think tanks and they come out with messaging. So in the right wing, all the messaging has been about critical race theory. And we talked about that on our African Diaspora News Insider channel. Make sure you subscribe to that one so you can know exactly what we're posting on our second news channel. So the Texas Senate voted on Friday to end a requirement for educators in public schools to teach their students that the Ku Klux Klan is morally wrong. As the proposal stated that the history of white supremacy, which includes American slavery, eugenics, and violence carried out by the Ku Klux Klan, cannot be taught in a way that suggests that history is immoral. So what is the teacher supposed to teach? That all of that was moral? You was doing just right by the Bible, by white Jesus? Is that what they're supposed to teach? I mean, these people like literally trying to do what Nazi Germany done by just burning the books. They said the suggested provision is part of Senate Bill 3, which, passed in the Senate Friday by 18 votes to 4. Now, say if passed, the bill would also remove a mandate that requires educators to teach about the civil rights movement, Native American history, and the Chicano movement. It say further, Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech. It say in the works of figures like United Farm Workers leader Cesar Chavez and suffrage activist Susan B. Anthony would also be dropped from the public school curriculum. Also teaching about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. They don't want you to teach about that and the history of why that even came about. They don't want you to teach anything about that whatsoever. These people literally just being open white supremacists. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I know, like I said, both parties definitely is not really for us. Let's call it what it is. The right wing is the open white supremacists, and the other one is the left wing is covert. I definitely understand that. It said now Friday's vote was an amendment to a bill that passed in June, which attempted to prohibit critical race theory from being taught in schools. While legislation doesn't mention critical race theory by name, as the Texas Republicans are clearly using it in an attempt to censor teachers from engaging in difficult discussions about race and racism while teaching U.S. history and civics. Now, a lot of groups came out against, this bill. The ACLU, a lot of teachers unions came out against this bill. They say, how could a teacher possibly discuss slavery, they say the Holocaust, or even the mass shooting at the Walmart in El Paso, or at the Sutherland Springs Church, and say without giving deference to any one perspective, okay? So this bill right now is just, even though it passed the Texas Senate, it can't really do anything in the Texas House because you have Democrats that left and they're in Washington, D.C. right now. So they not meeting what they call a quorum. They have to have 100 people in the Texas House to do any business. As long as the Democrat people are away, nothing can be done. But this is the thing. These people are really losing it, ladies and gentlemen. And we have to talk about, brothers and sisters in this, in this state, because we're talking about Texas, but this can come to a state near you. We have to talk about being responsible for our own children's education. And we have been so used to homeschooling during the pandemic. A lot of people say they like the homeschooling. Some older kids especially like homeschooling. They say they learn more. They're not exposed to racism or race soldiers in those schools. They're not exposed to any of that. And they actually can learn the proper history that they're supposed to learn. That's very, very important. And always we need to remember, if they won't treat you right, why would they teach you right? But they want the Republicans here in Texas, to indoctrinate all children, because that's anybody coming in public school is all children, for them not to know their evil history. See, it's not no one else's fault that your ancestors were evil. Your ancestors were devils, that they were rapists, pedophiles, thieves, murderers, backbiters. You understand? Slavers. The worst of the worst that people can do, that's in your history. And no matter what, you can't hide it. You could tell teachers all day long you can't teach that, but you cannot block the history from the internet. You can't do that, but because the history is there. But it lets you know these people are losing their minds because they're trying to hold on to a lie. You understand what I'm telling you? White supremacy is built on lies and falsehoods. And they got to have that lie and falsehood taught and indoctrinated into all children so they can maintain the lie of white supremacy. See, white supremacy cannot deal with truth because truth exposed the lie. So they go trying to do everything they can to keep the lie going. And this is why a lot of people, say like, man, I don't even want to vote for the Democrat Party. But man, I'm kind of forced to sometimes. And a lot of black people have said that too. I don't want to vote for them people, but I'm kind of forced to because when you see things like this going on, you say, okay, Greg Abbott is worried about this, worrying about the Ku Klux Klan not being looked at in a bad light, instead of worrying about their power grid that needs to be fixed. That's what they need to be focusing on, the power grid. You have 700 people or so die in the winter storm, and you worried about making sure the Ku Klux Klan is looked at in a good light? Like, are you freaking serious? That's what you have to worry about in the state of Texas, the Ku Klux Klan and slave owners, making sure they looked at in a good light? That's why that guy got to go. He got to go. Now, I'm also going to respond to a brother that left a message on my Instagram because I think it's good to talk about this. I've said many times before, I believe that black people, especially if you're going to be Captain Black America, you need to be involved in your politics, your local politics, your state politics, if anything else. And the way you be involved with that, you have to have some sort of way to try to get the people in office that's going to do what's right for you locally, like your mayor, city council, your judges, your DAs, etc. We have to do that. Now, a lot of black people are apathetic to voting because people have not strategically done anything with voting or running candidates. Dr. Claude Anderson told y'all so many times and giving y'all the playbook on how to control your politics, how to be involved in your politics. And the reason why voting to a lot of people seems like it doesn't work locally or even statewide is because you don't have strategy. And what happens is these other immigrant groups come in this country and they study the system and they get mobilized. They vote strategically. They put their money toward it. And this is why they get things over us as black Americans. Politics is a game that you got to be involved with. You understand? So when your state elections come up, like governor right here in Texas, or your state representatives, you need to be involved in seeing who you're going to send up there. Or maybe you can even run for yourself. We don't know. But that's more important and affect you daily, your state and your local. That federal election with the president and the electoral college, I've already said my piece on that. I think that system is outdated. And I believe that system is rigged to give smaller states more of a voice than what they should have. Just bottom line. It should be one vote toward a president and that's it, right? But that's that. You're more affected with your local elections and your state elections. Trump is not in office no more. Joe Biden is. But you see how you're being affected in the state. So we have more people that moved into the state of Texas, more than ever. You should get registered to vote because in 2022, if you feel like this is wrong, you don't like to see this going on, you don't like to see teachers with their hands bound, then you know you need to vote these people out. They've been having control and they have literally became the party of supporting the Ku Klux Klan. When you want to protect the KKK, seriously, that's the group you want to protect? The Ku Klux Klan. So I guess they can't discuss the Ku Klux Klan Act either in school. I mean, think about that. They want to protect the Ku Klux Klan. It's no explanation to this. It's none. No, none whatsoever. Why don't you focus in on the power grid? But see, that's too much like right. These people that Donald Trump got in office, and these people lost their minds. They got their nose so far up Donald Trump's, butt they can't see daylight. But parents, you have a choice, especially in the black community, for sure. You have to either homeschool or you better fight like hell. Now, like I said on Instagram, I don't have no dog in that fight. I'm talking about me personally. I don't have no dog in that fight because my child goes to a black school, complete black school, black ran, black owned. Okay. But the majority of the black children in the community don't do that. So this is why I'm saying that, yes, something has to happen. Greg Abbott has to go in 2022. He has to go. The Republicans and all of the ones that's supporting all of this, they have to go. When you have a party that's sitting up here openly want the Ku Klux Klan not looked at in a bad light, you know this state's in trouble. Also, when they passed that law saying basically anybody can conceal carry, you don't have to have no training and no permit. Why are you doing that? Are you trying to bring up more white supremacist vigilantes to be killing black folks? I mean, this is the things that we have to start talking about that's going on here in the state of Texas. Why they want these people running amok with guns with no training? I'm all about the Second Amendment. I'm definitely supportive of the Second Amendment, but I don't think it's wise to have people running around with guns with no training and no proof of training, at least a concealed carry permit. At least they had to prove themselves. They knew how to handle their firearm and went through a class and all of that. Now you're just letting anybody run around with it as in September the 1st? What is the real purpose behind that the Republicans in the state of Texas are doing this for? But we're seeing they are the party of supporting the Ku Klux Klan. And before somebody gonna start this crap, because they're always gonna start it because they think they're so smart. Well, the Democrats started the Ku Klux Klan. Yes, that's American history. And black people were Republicans too, if you want to go there. But if you know your American history, you know the Dixiecrats went over to the Republican Party and took over the Republican Party, and now it's still that same party, okay? So the Republican Party is the old Dixiecrat Ku Klux Klan party from yesterday. The same. So we don't really need to refer to that. And black people aren't Republicans anymore because of the Great Compromise. And that's when black people left the Republican Party and they kind of started going toward Democrat, okay? And we're going to discuss history. But with that being said, y'all have a lot to think about Texas residents, because this is more so focused at you, Texas residents. Get registered to vote and vote these people out. And on top of that, if you can take your kids out of public school, do that. Because these people, like I said, they just getting from bad to worse. And they openly telling you what they're doing. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think about, this particular story. Horrible story. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. But this current group of Republicans, like I said, and their racism, they exposing themselves every day. 250 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, sharecropping, the Ku Klux Klan, lynchings, bombings, mass incarceration, the separation and destruction of the black family. All of that has had an effect on our mind. Our mind needs to be decolonized. We today are experiencing mental slavery, not physical slavery as once our ancestors had to endure. In my book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, we take you through every step to start releasing the chains that's on your mind. He or she who controls the mind control the person. It is in a vested interest of the white supremacist system to keep your mind bogged down in a mental slavery, throwing entertainment, throwing drugs, throwing alcohol, anything they can at you to keep you bogged down. You got to free yourself from mental slavery by purchasing our book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, today on Amazon. Make sure you share it with your family, share it with your friends. Everyone can benefit from decolonizing the mind, because once your mind is decolonized, you will never be put to sleep again.